Characters, and I'm bringing you today a live play video at 50NL 6 max on PokerStars, on JokerStars. I was going to bring you guys a special coaching video today because I thought my girlfriend would be up for, I'm currently coaching her. She's like my main student right now, if you will, my favorite student type thing. And I've been coaching her, and as I was saying in previous videos, I thought we were going to do our little coaching session where we do a live session with me and her sitting around going over some hands, show you guys how coaching works and correct some of our leaks and record it as a video for you guys. But unfortunately she doesn't feel quite ready for the fame of being a Grindr School student quite yet. She knows that the minute she appears in one of these videos she will be completely swamped with like fan mail, with phone calls, because of the high prestige and fame that comes with a Grindr School appearance. So hopefully for next time she'll be ready. We just need to do a bit more practice first. So hopefully in my next video I'm going to bring that for you guys. So playing 4 tables today. Been a while since I've actually grinded any 6 max. I've been grinding heads up predominantly for the last sort of couple of weeks. I've not been playing a lot because I've had exams, but what I have been playing has all been at heads up. I'm just going to fold here with ace jack. I guess I have the best hand very rarely, but I don't have a good plan for the turn. I don't have that much equity. This guy has a pair more often than not when he leads out here. So yeah, not much else to say about that. Here we flat raise out the big blind. King jack. Gonna go ahead and check raise. I've got a backdoor flush draw, backdoor straight draw. I've got some cards I can barrel. I don't know. I just feel like messing with this guy just now. See what he's going to do about it. It's a board that he'll be c-betting with pretty much his entire range. It's also, I don't know if it's a sort of board he wants to 3-bet bluff and mess with me too much on, because if I have a draw, like a flush draw there, I have spades, I can just jam it over in his face, and then if he's going to 3-bet bluff me, he has to fold, so that really sucks for him. So I don't really think he wants to be messing about too lightly there, so I think it's a decent spot when I've got a good amount of turn cards I can actually barrel if he does call. Say he's going to call with any pocket pair, any piece of the board there. I can probably fire a lot of turns, spades improve my equity. Jacks probably give me the best hand a decent amount, 10s and aces improve my equity, and they're good scare cards, so, plenty of options there. He min raises the cutoff here. I'm just going to flat with ace 8 for this price. Ace 8 suited, I think that's totally fine. 6 max, how I've missed it's been a while. And it's a lot less stressful from playing heads up. I had a session last night where I tilted for like the first time in, I don't know, well, everyone tilts a little bit. But I properly tilted in this session. And that's not something I usually do. But this guy was so aggressive, and I was running like total shit. And every single time I missed the flop, he played back at me. It was just one of those sessions, and I ended up spewing a few buy-ins. So I feel a bit silly about that. But it is a lot easier to tilt heads up than it is 6 max. That's definitely something I've learned. I think when you're playing heads up, you've really got to just not get personal, not think, oh, I hate this guy, he's pissing me off. Just think, what do I do in this spot versus opponent with these tendencies? Just try and distance yourself from who's owning who and your ego and things like that. But I never shy away from playing a reg because I know it's good for my game in the long run. It would just be good if I didn't tilt. But no, I've not tilted at all heads up really. This was the first time, so pretty happy with how things are going. But it's good to get back to a bit of 6 max because this is the game I'm obviously most comfortable in. This is like my bread and butter game, I suppose. On table 3 here, this ISO's just too big for me to call against this stack size. Like, it's so big that this guy will also fold fairly often because it's like 6x. And I'm nowhere near deep enough to set my out position, getting such terrible pot odds and not having the implied odds, so easy fold for me there with 6s, and I'll open my buttons 3x until I'm shown that I'm going to be played back at, and at that point I'll tighten up a bit and just open 2.5, maybe even min raise in extreme cases if I've got a bunch of regulars playing back at me. But 50NL, I don't know how the games play right now. I don't know how Black Friday has really affected these games because, like I say, I switched games like completely when that happened and when I cashed out, so we'll just have to see. I fire a c-bet on Jack 9, pretty standard against the fish. He's got a wide range pre-flop, plenty of air in his range. I have 7 high, I want to take the pot down. On the turn, a really bad card for me, really good for his range. The only hands that are folding here, I think, are if he peeled with some ace high, or, but even then he has gut shots or straight draws there often, or some sort of low pocket pair, but most of his range here isn't folding, so I'm just going to check back, try and spike an 8. And I've got an easy fold to a big river bet there. I've got an exam tomorrow, which I am just planning on failing because I hate it. I basically do Ancient Greek as like a third option. Did it last year, it was okay. Do it this year and it's really horrible. Just like it would consume your entire life if you actually wanted to do well in the course. So my grade point average is fine for what I want to do next year, so I don't really even need to pass it. So I'm going to go in and just write a bunch of shit, basically. Maybe I'll write about poker. That might be fun. Going to open a suited ace under the gun here, especially one that can flop a wheel draw. I've got a bad player there to my left, it looks like. I just want to play as many pots with him as I can. I know that he has position on me, but that's okay. He's going to be so bad and my hand plays so nicely that I'm absolutely fine opening there. If I had regs, like 3-betting the shit out of me and stuff, I'd be less inclined to. I'm just going to flat this donk. I think it's really strong here. I think he has Jack X or better. Possibly a draw. Like, one advantage to raising is that we can get him to fill it with worse flush draws, which is really good, but by flatting I allow the fish to stay in the hand as well. And should a diamond come, I'm going to stack him anyway if he has a worse draw. So I'd like a call there, mainly to keep the fish in the hand. He checks a turn. I don't know much about this guy. He seems really passive. I think he'll check call a jack here. If he has a draw, he sometimes has a pair as well that he'll check call. I beat a bunch of draws. I'm just going to check back here. I don't think fold equity is all that great. I'll defend Queen Jack here versus this open. Don't know much about this guy yet. I'll bet this river for value. Don't want to make it too huge because it's a bit of a scary board now. Just want to make it so that he can call me with Jack X sometimes, although it kind of sucks, that river card. But yeah, I mean, he's so passive that I don't even know if he's going to felt like just a random sort of flush draw there on the flop, and I really want to keep the fish in the hand. Like, that's pretty important to me to actually keep the fish in the hand. Here, blind versus blind, this guy leads 2 streets. Obviously, either a call or a raise on this turn. I think I can still stack King X on a lot of rivers anyway. He does have some pair plus draw hands though that will stack off now and maybe not on some rivers, so I think I'm just going to ship this turn for value against King X or any sort of pair plus draw. Wow, okay. So he flopped the nuts. I'm going to flat ace queen. I don't know anything about this opener. I don't know how he plays versus 3-bets, and it's always nice to leave the fish in the pot when I have position on him. If I find out this guy's really stationary versus 3-bets, then I can go ahead and start doing things like isolating him there, like sort of 3-betting for isolation against the fish, slash value against the fish. Would probably be fine. I've got the nut ace high here, not too many better hands are folding to bet. I don't think I have that much fold equity, so I'm just going to check. So yeah, I mean, this guy's looks fairly tight so far. I think the chances of him firing 3 barrels with air on this board are not too high. I think he definitely stacks all kings in the turn. I think he also stacks any hand like Queen 10, Jack 10 on the turn. Pocket 10s, hands like this that have some equity now, but will probably be able to check fold on the river. So I think like the turn, if he has any sort of flush draw plus a pair, he's obviously never folding. If he has just a lone flush draw, he may not even fold. So I like just raising the turn and getting it in there. Don't think calling is too bad, but I think it's good just to jam the turn there with my 2 pair. And obviously, unfortunately, he flops bottom set, but nothing we can do about that. Ace 7 offsuit's a little bit too loose for me to open in the cutoff there. Pretty easy fold. So yeah, I'm going to get a question tomorrow about, like, analyze this passage of Homer, analyze these structures, and I'm just going to write, like, Yeah, when villain has a polarized range, we should probably tend to, you know, to bluff more, but not value bet as thinly, blah blah blah. Stuff like this. That's going to be my answers to the Greek questions. Should be pretty epic. This guy, very short. Obviously nothing to be done there. Don't know anything about this dude either, so standard fold to 3-bet for now. Is this guy open blind versus blind yet? No, 0 out of 2. I'll fold. Decent hand to 3-bet bluff with there. Don't really want to flat it, it's too weak, but it's definitely like an okay hand to 3-bet bluff, so I'm happy actually 3-betting there as a bluff. It's probably okay, but he's been very tight out of the small blinds so far, so I'll give him the benefit of the doubt for now and just see what happens. This is going to be an easy lead. I'm just going to bet $2. I want to build the pot against the fish so I can stack him, and I don't expect the fish to fold any pair or draw here, so pretty standard. Queen turn sucks, obviously. What do I want to do with bottom 2 in this spot? If I bet, and he jams, like, I probably have to call. I think I just have to bet call. You can have a lot of like pair plus draw hands. You can have a lot of other random jacks. Oh, that kind of sucks. So I'm getting such a good price after bet. Like stacks just against a random fish. I just don't think stacks are deep enough for me to fold here. Although this does kind of suck. I'm not thrilled about this at all. Yeah, it's a straight. I'm gonna standard c-bet here and c-bet here. I mean, if he's deeper, I'm obviously never bet calling there. He's just got so little left. He's a fish. He's probably going to stack off with a jack still. Any jack if he has, like, I don't know. It is a shit turn card. I don't like check folding the turn, though, against random fish there. I think I can still bet for value, and when he shoves, I'm just getting such a good price. I have some redraws. I don't think I can fold, even though I expect to be good pretty rarely. But the thing is, at that point, I only need to be good like 20-something% of the time versus the fish. I think I've got enough equity there pretty easily. I'll go ahead and just bet 1 for value here. I think he'll peel me with a bunch of like, you know, gut shot draws, things like that. I'll check back that turn. We make 2 pair in the river, which is pretty sweet. And he bets pretty big. Again, I mean, I'm not actually too thrilled about this. I think he's quite polarized here. I think he has a lot better 2 pair. He's just random fish though. Would he do this with just a naked ace? I'm not sure. He has some straights. He could have some worse 2 pair. I think I have to call. I mean, again, I'm not that happy though. Yeah, I don't know. I think I have to call. Yeah, but like, I didn't expect him to show up with that. I mean, I expect him to be much more polarized there. And he bets that river, like, I guess he could just have like ace jack or something, but from a passive fish who's just won a pot, I wouldn't expect him to do that in the river. In terms of air, he doesn't really have much, so I think he just fold the flop with he'd fold to my c bets with air on the flop. If he has a draw, he now either has showdown value or a straight, but I think he'd have a hand like 7-8, 8-9, 9-7, a good amount, possibly an ace, and then there's random fish spaz with just hands like that you have to expect some percentage of the time as well, and we need about 30% equity to call. I think it's close, it's probably a call, but just remember, like, even in spots against fish, you do have to give them a spaz factor, like you definitely do, just with random crap that they can just turn into bluffs not knowing what they're doing and things like that. This guy's clearly horrible. When I river 2 pair there, I don't really want to fold when I only need 30% equity against the fish who can have either worse 2 pair, sometimes an ace, and certainly some air in his range. Although, given that in saying that, I don't expect to be good more than about 40% of the time there, but I think I'm good the 30% or so that I need to be, so I think it's just about call. But just remember that, you know, you don't need that much equity to call a lot of the time when you're against the fish with a wider sort of potential spazzier range and you've got a hand that strong, like absolute hand strength wise, it's often either going to be a small mistake to call or a big mistake to fold, depending on the spazzy nature of the fish. So I think it's a pretty easy call. I'm just going to see what this guy had. Yeah, ace queen, yeah, fair enough. Pretty standard hand, not much else to say. I bet flop, bet turn, bet river for value. Just, I'm going to lead every street there. There's no need to do anything tricky. He's going to check back a king. He's going to call down with a king. That's a big part of his range. So just bet, bet, bet for value. That's all I can say about that. I'm going to isolate very wide in 6-max against horrible players like this. This guy's a perfect candidate so far. He's folding to c-bet so far. He's limping and calling, playing fair or fold. For the, well, I assume that's likely to be the case. It's only one hand, obviously, but gets a pretty easy raise. But yeah, you obviously can't raise that river with the queen 8 because you don't have 50% against his calling range, because you don't even have 50% against his betting range, unfortunately. So I c-bet most flops here. This one though, there's not really any worse hands that are going to call me. He just shoves. That sucks, you know. I have to fold. You know, he can just have an 8. Like, he's just terrible. You can have a king. You can have like 5, 7. My equity's probably not terrible here, but I doubt I have enough to call with. And we can wait for many a better spot against that player. This feels like pennies to me because I'm used to playing 100 or 200, but of course it's not anymore because I've withdrawn my role and stuff. I don't want a 4-way pot with kings here against these guys. I mean, I do want to leave one of them in the pot. That would be fine, but 4-way pot, less keen on. And a lot of the time they're going to be so bad they'll cold call and shove over 3 bets anyway. So I think I'd rather just 3 bet in this spot. And it's not like they have huge amounts that I can win anyway. They're not even 50 big blinds deep. So I think my main priority is just isolating this guy for value here. And if one of the fish wants to do something dumb, then that's obviously great. I've got this guy in the big blind, so I definitely want to open a hand like ace-5 suited under the gun here. No one else is giving me hassle. You know, I've got net here. I've got a net on the button, probably. And I've got a guy in the big blind who's going to call and then check fold flops and things like that against me, so that's fine. He checks this board. I'm just going to... Oh yeah, I 3-bet here, didn't I? I can bet 1 here. I don't expect to get bluff raised on this board very often. I think I'll just bet 1. I don't want to turn my hand completely face up at this point when I can just value bet, and I can look to check back turns and get the showdown, maybe even value bet a river, so I think that's my line there. This retard fish, he's opening fairly wide. I'm going to call here. I'm happy playing a multi-way pot with these 2 whales when I'll dominate like a decent portion of their ranges and they'll just make mistakes. Want to leave this guy in as well, so I'm happy actually flattening king jack offsuit. It doesn't play that great multi-way, but the fish are so bad that when I flop top pair I'm likely to get stacks fairly often, so been saying that is by no means like a fist pump call at all. Ace 4 here. We open in the hijack. We get called by this guy. I'm gonna go ahead and c-bet. I think he's got a bunch of like broadways, hands I've missed here, random aces that I can fold out on this board. You know, better aces sometimes. We get check raised. I'll just go ahead and fold. But he's 32-19, so it's not the case that he's very tight and he's only playing pocket pairs or suited connectors. He has a bunch of ace-high and broadways there that other people who are tighter won't have, and these are all hands that are actually going to fold. I'm going to lead here just because I can get the fish to call with like an 8 random heart, and I can take the pot down enough of the time as well. It's generally just a bet to take the pot down, and I can get called by like every draw under the sun by the fish as well. On that turn I'm just going to fold. Just going to check and fold. But yeah, like, this c-bet's marginal, but I think it's fine because this guy's range, that gap between his VPIP and PFR, means that his range is wider than most people's there. So he does have a lot of hands like sort of Queen Jack, King Queen, you know, like Ace 10. These sort of hands I would expect to fold to the C-bet. I have a backdoor flush draw. I can barrel overcards to the 9 profitably to fold out low pocket pairs in a 7. So I have turn options and I have more fold equity versus him than I would versus a tighter player. So I think it's okay to C-bet there. And my showdown value is not great. I'm not making it to showdown all that often. I just elect to go ahead and 3-bet with the Ace King here. I think if this guy has something he's willing to stack, I don't even think my 3-bet will deter him. If he has Ace Jack, he's still going to ship. This guy knows that I know he's light here. He can play back at this 3-bet. I can certainly 3-bet this hand for value versus him. If he 4-bets, I'll jam. Yeah, nothing much else to say about that. Pretty standard. Yeah, guys, by the way, get posting in that homework thread, like, please. It's there for a reason. It's there so we can get a bunch of your guys' hands, and you can all comment on each other's hands, and you know, it's good. It's healthy that you guys can get that feedback. So hardly anyone has posted a hand on it. We've had one guy give some analysis and another guy post some hands, which was nice. But I'm going to do that video either next time, not next time because that's heads up, either at the end of the month or start of next month. You've got time, but seriously, take advantage of it, because I need the hands to do the video, and you guys are going to benefit from it. So you know, there's no reason not to. The reason I'm min raising at this table is that this guy's jamming kind of like, not super light, but he's jamming to an extent where I can't call with Jack 10. So I still want to try and steal the blinds, play a pot in position, and play a pot against him when he calls, but I obviously don't want to like make it so big that I'm burning a lot of money by opening and then folding, since he will be jamming fairly frequently, but not so frequently I can call with a hand like Jack 10 offsuit. So it's a pretty standard like spot to just go ahead and min raise, and that way the times he does jam you're just losing the minimum, and you know, you can still play a pot in position and stuff. It just saves you burning money by opening to 3x there when you're going to have to fold to a jam. So I definitely like the min open. Here I'm in the hijack with queens. He's less likely to jam on me here as far as my range is concerned, and my hand I'm obviously happy calling it off, so I'm fine making it bigger in that spot. I'm going to check back this board with sixes. There's arguments that I could go ahead and just c-bet since my showdown value isn't great. Now I think he'll call me with any 8, any 9, but he'll also call me with any Jack, any 10, any 7. Yes, passive. I don't really think I've got enough value just against gut shots to like bet for value / protection there. Now obviously I'm going to bet like 360. I think that's the size he'll call with a 7 or better, so yep. I think if I make it like pot, he can fold a 7 there. He's obviously never folding a Jack or a 10, but you know, whatever. Pretty standard with queens. I have the board crushed. I could even bet less there to try and let them continue with draws. Or cause them to jam over lighter, or cause them to do, you know, God knows what else. But I think that's an absolutely fine bet size. The guy's still never going to fold a queen or a flush draw, I wouldn't think, to that, by the looks of him, so I think it's good. Go ahead and fire a second barrel on this board with Queen Jack. I get hugely 3-bet by a total net here, so that's a snap fold. This guy's opening the button kinda wide. He's not too deep though. This is between a fold and a call. He probably does suck. I'm just going to defend my blind here with this hand because I think he does suck enough. This is kinda close. Like, we've opened here under the gun. Like, does he really call a third bet on this board with like a hand like 10s or jacks? He doesn't have worse queens. I think not. He looks quite tight. I'm just going to check here. I think he has a better queen fairly often, and I don't think he calls again with 10s or jacks, although I could be wrong on that. But given that I've opened under the gun, he looks fairly tight so far. I'm just going to elect to check there. I think I'd probably be value towning myself if I bet. He checks this board, which is really strange. I'd expect him to always... Oh no, he doesn't, sorry. I'm first to act. Duh. He bets 230. I'm just going to give up. I can bluff there, but I rep very little. He's likely to jam anything on me because he's short and doesn't believe me. It's not really a good spot to check raise bluff at all. One of my students, actually, one of the areas we're working on just now with him is, when he defends his blind, he feels like he's not finding enough spots to play back at his opponent's post-flop. So if any spots come up, and I think a lot of you guys are probably in the same boat, it's not the easiest thing, to play out of position without initiative. It does cause people problems. So if any more spots like that come up, I'll try and talk as much as I can about spots to play back, why it's good to check raise, when we can expect fold equity and when we can't, and things like that. This guy loves to just overbet with some sort of depolarized range, probably like all top pair and all draws and stuff like that. So, as soon as we flop top pair, good kicker, we can just snap one of those off and stack them. So that's pretty nice. Why do I make those judgments about his range? Simply because he's done it frequently on boards where it's just hard to have like really strong hands, and I don't think he'd play really strong hands that way. So I think it's pretty obvious that he is fairly depolarized in those sort of spots. I isolate him with 10-3 just because he's check folding a lot and he's just won a pot, so I don't expect him to get too out of line. So I'm just going to fire 3 into 5 and aim to take this down against his air, although he is jamming like a fair amount as well. Also, if I flop, 10-3 is maybe a little light against him considering he has been jamming a lot, but he's also just won a pot and I think he should be like fairly passive overall. Again, I'm min raising here because I don't want to get shoved on. Well, I'm trying to min raise if stars is going to cooperate. Oh, great. Okay, we're back. I thought I was going to get timed out there. It'd be a bit annoying. Again, we don't want to get shoved on by this guy, so we just go ahead and min raise. This guy donks at me. He's fairly passive so far. I have no equity. I'll fold for now. Good to take a note, just so we know he did that. Just in the future, we may give his donks a bit less respect if we see that note, and we know he donks frequently. But he seems very passive so far. He has a lot of draws there. It's a wet board. He can easily just be trying to protect the king or whatnot. I have no equity. I think it's spewy to raise against such a player with no equity, so I like my fold there. So yeah, my girlfriend will be ready for the next time I produce a video to do a student session review with me, so I think that'll be quite cool. You guys will get to see how coaching sessions work, and you'll be able to watch me pick apart her game, and I'm sure you'll all love to watch her terrible play and pick it apart as well. Nah, I kid, she's not actually that bad. She's getting a lot better. Like when we first started, she was pretty horrible, but she's definitely improved a lot over the last few weeks, and she's beginning to understand things more and more, which is really cool. No reason to 3-bet king queen here. I don't know anything about this guy. He's been tight so far. I've just got no reason to do anything but call, and then call the c-bet on the flop. He bets his turn, which, I don't like, because it's the sort of board that when I call, I usually have an ace or a king, and he shouldn't expect me to fold there. Also, a flush draw gets there on the turn as well. I expect him to give up fairly often, given the looks of him so far. It could be inaccurate, but I'm going to go ahead and make a fold here. I don't think it's exploitable. It may seem a bit tight, but on club rivers, I'm screwed anyway. I have to make a decision on the river, and it's likely going to have to be a fold, so if he ever bluffs the river, when he is bluffing the turn, I'm just giving away all that equity by calling turn, folding river. Oh yeah, that's what I call domination. Oh, that's a shame. It was domination before that 4 came. So I expect him to give up on that turn fairly often, because we don't have history and he hasn't done anything crazy yet. could be off there, but the thing is, if he ever does bluff the river as well, and I'm planning on folding it, then it sucks, and I don't want to call turn and call river there, because not enough people at 50 NL are tripling me on that specific board, blind versus blind. I just think it's too likely I have an ace or king when I call the flop. He should know that. I don't think he's the type to go ahead and just blast the turn and river with air, so I like my turn fold there. My equity also sucks more when that third club comes out and I don't have one. If I had a club, I'd definitely call a turn. But without one, no thanks. This guy limp raises me now. He's a bit all over the place, really. But again, he's probably just got... he's not even opening any hands, so he's got pretty much his entire any 2-card range here. But when he 3-bets, he's still got like a bunch of like overpairs and, you know, ace jack and hands like that he's not going to fold. I want to 3-bet bluff this hand. It's a really nice hand to 3-bet bluff. Unfortunately, I've got these two guys. He's a bit passive and stationary, and this guy's likely just to jam like ace 10 and king jack and stuff on me due to his stack size, so I think it's just a fold. I don't really think we can get away with, although this guy's probably a good target to 3-bet bluff, I don't really think we can get away with it in that spot, so it's just going to be a fold. Now that we have kings, obviously we can go ahead and 3-bet for value, and if they jam, then, you know, all the better for us. A guy opens under the gun. He just sat down. Takes really retarded check raise lines all the time. I'm just going to fold ace jack. I don't have initiative. I don't know anything about him. I'm going to be giving up when I brick the flop. I may even be in bad shape versus under the gun opening range. Well, he opens kind of wide, but not that wide. So yeah, I like a fold with ace jack there for sure. It's very difficult to play against a strong range there, out of position with no initiative. We flop the uber nuts here, so let's go ahead and start betting. We'll just go bet, 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 and try and get this in. And do we make a flush in the river? I'd rather not have made a flush. I'd rather just have my nut straight, but well, my awesome straight. I don't know what he'd had there. Probably just some sort of queen for a straight draw or something retarded like that, I'd imagine. Easy set mine here. This guy's fairly tight even from the cutoff, so just go ahead and set mine in position. Also, if he's giving up on flops, there's plenty of flops we can take it down with fives or get the showdown with the best hand as well, so, and we get multiple pots sometimes. Downside is this guy jams occasionally, but I think that's not that frequent. Never stabbing at this. It's just far too likely that one of them has a piece of this they aren't going to fold. In particular, this dude. Standard now. Bet turn shove river. Nothing much to be said. That's unfortunate. I do like coffee. I find it helps me play better. Might not be the case for everyone, but generally when I drink coffee I'm a lot more focused, so... And I don't tilt ever. I don't ever feel the need to tilt when I drink coffee. I don't know why this is, but I'm just really alert and I'm just really like, what's the best play here? You know, just in tune with the game. So caffeine helps me. I'm not recommending it as a sort of blanket statement. It'll help everybody, but it certainly helps me grind better. So if you can find those little things that, you know, tweak your game, improve your game in the short term, in the moment, then go ahead and do them. For me, it's caffeine. It certainly helps me. Also, having a glass of water, keep yourself hydrated is good. But yeah, try and find out what helps you, what doesn't help you, and just create the best grind environment that you can for yourself, where you're most focused. You know, don't do other things. Don't be on Facebook. Don't be like messing around with other applications. Just sit and let it be you and your session and your thought process. Nothing else to get in the way of it, and that's when you're going to have the best results. So the way my videos are working right now, just in case you hadn't guessed, is I'm doing different types of video, like one of each type of video each month type thing. Like if I've got 3 slots a month, then I'm going to do one heads up, one live play 6 max, and one coaching 6 max, or one homework video depending. Basically I'll be choosing between homework, coaching format, and live play for the 6 max videos to fill those slots, and to fill my one heads up slot, that's going to be like a session review of my own session usually. So that's the way it's going to work. It's a bit of variety, so it'll be chopping and changing every week type thing, and then you'll be getting the next installment of each series the following month. So that's the way it's going to work. I think it'll be quite good. Keeps you guys from getting bored. A lot of variety there. So, and if you've got any suggestions for when these series are done, like I'm going to do a few of the homework, provided you guys give me hands to work with, you know, that would always help. I'm going to do a few of the coaching format, and I'm going to do, obviously, keep live play going because everyone needs live play videos. I think that's pretty much a constant that everyone needs. It really sucks here. Like, I like having these guys after me, but it's not the best table. Should probably just get off this table because they're stopping me from being able to make plus EV 3 bets versus him. They're stopping me from being able to open that wide profitably because they're just jamming on me all the time. It's still profitable for me, but it's not the best table. These guys are both very good candidates to 3-bet bluff by the looks of things, and these fish ahead of me are unfortunately making that less possible. This dude is just a total net so far. I expect this range to be very tight here. We're deep with him though. I'm going to call to try and like flop a flush or whatever, and I've got this guy as well who I'm probably doing pretty well against, but if I flop like top pair here, I'm probably not going to call like more than one street versus the pre-flop razor, because he just looks like his range is pretty damn strong for now. Also, I can get the fish to come along. This is just a no-brainer lead. I'm going to fold to raise against the pre-flop razor here, because basically he's very tight. I've just led into 4 people, including a fish. I don't ever expect him to mess with me here without a hand. This guy 3-bets me with I have 10s. I'm just going to jam. I'm fine with it. He's been 3-betting before. Kind of worried that he doesn't just shove, but then, you know, 10s is going to be doing fine here, I think. Well, it certainly does look stronger when he actually just 3x's it as opposed to shoving. Now there's nothing to be said, but just ship it in. Obviously, I can't give up with that sort of SPR just because of the turn, and we take that down, so that's nice. So yeah, I mean, I expect him. He has 3-bet before. I think he can have like pocket 9s, pocket 8s in his range possibly when he's that short. Bunch of random broadways. Yeah, a bunch of some crap as well. Some random sort of ace-7 suited stuff, although not that much of it. But I think we're doing fine with 10s there. Given all the dead money in the pot, there's no real way we're going to fold there ever, so pretty standard. I'll go ahead and check call this board, let him stab with his air when he checks back about the turn for value / protection. And I'll bet this river as well. He's got a bunch of worse 9s, 7s, 6s. I don't think he'll fold here. I don't have no idea what his bluffing frequencies will be with like missed straight draws or flush draws if I check, so I think just betting when we know he's going to be stationary with worse hands and betting quite small is optimal on that river. Yeah, this is coming back to me. I've been coaching a lot of 6 max this week, so I'm still pretty fresh. You know, it helps to coach because it gets you thinking about everything and keeps my 6 max game, you know, in shape, even though I'm currently playing heads up. I might go back to 6 max given how soft these games are all looking actually. Maybe Black Friday's been super good. I don't know. I'll have an investigation and check it out. Although I am enjoying heads up right now, so I maybe do a bit of both. We'll see. So yeah, if you guys have ideas for future series, then series, I don't know, let me know, and I'll see what I think of them. The last time someone gave me an idea, it was for that homework series, which I've duly obliged, and I'm now in the middle of. So just goes to show, if you've got something you want to see, it's a good chance. You know, no one ever PMs me at Grinder School. Unfortunately, you know, I don't get much attention. I'm not a very popular guy. I think it's because I'm so mean. Unfortunately, so the chances are I will respond to you and I will actually do what you want, because I just want to feel loved. You know, send me some love, and I'll try and oblige whatever sort of video format you guys are after. Um, Standard c-bet here, guys. Range is really wide. There's turns I can barrel. I don't have showdown value. Typical sort of spot where you need to be c-betting 100% of the time. Make sure you're c-betting against weak ranges when the guy isn't playing back at you, because you're just going to get so many folds. It doesn't matter that you only have 2 overcards as equity and that the board's like got 3 low cards. If it's discoordinated like that, uncoordinated like that, and the guy's range is really weak and really wide, like, you're just going to get so many folds from the random stuff in his range that it doesn't even matter, like, that the board isn't the best one in the world for c-bet. His range is so weak and the board's fine, so it's just a snap c-bet spot. So never check there. It's just a leak that I've noticed in some people's games. Some of my students and stuff just check flops and their c-bet's too low against weak players. If you're playing in games with fish, your c-bet should be 70% plus. I c-bet 80% when I played 25 NL last year and did very well. I mean, I think people do not c-bet enough in general. Not the best flop in the world versus this guy, just because it's so coordinated. So many of his hands have like pair plus draw, like some sort of gut shot or some sort of like top pair here fairly often. But when I have equity like this and 8 high, you know, I have equity and no showdown value, I think it's a pretty easy spot. Is this blind versus blind here? Yeah. No. What's going on? Where the hell's the button? Oh, I opened this and he leads this flop at me for $3. Alright, let's call one. The gut shot and bottom pair. That's a nice turn. I'm going to fold to this. My draw just sucks. Obviously, I don't think he's full of crap. I think he's just got a bunch of top pair, a bunch of other stuff. This is an easy raise here for me. Good to know he just like leads out and bluffs at boards like that. It's always nice. Good thing to note. But yeah, I'm just raising turn to shove the river, and I'm making it so that if he has a hand like Queen 10 that's like, or hand like King 10 rather, not actually the nuts, like pair plus draw that might call 1 but not 2, I'm making it big enough on the turn so that the price he's getting on the river will be so good that he can't even fold second pair by that point. So that's the thing to do. If someone has like a lot of pair plus draws in their range and you want value, then just go ahead and make it big on the turn, or big on the earlier street, so that by the time the later street comes down, you're just doing so well that they've just got such a good price that they're still going to call even when the draw bricks. So here we want clubs or hearts. Oh, not one of each, that's no good. I like to take a note of people's sizing. I'm just going to bet here to take this down. I mean, he folds all better king high, he folds a bunch of air that I don't want him stabbing with, and generally in that sort of spot where the flop is like a nothing flop and an overcard comes in the turn, it just means he's no longer calling with ace high, he's just folding that now, whereas he wouldn't on the flop, and he's just folding such a huge amount of time. Basically, if he doesn't have a queen, he folds, and he usually doesn't have a queen. That's like all there is to it. So it's a really easy spot obvious spot to go ahead and stab at the pot there. I take a note of people's 4-bet sizes, just in case there's any discrepancy in there between value and bluffs, because quite often what you'll find is that people actually 4-bet ace king huge and then 4-bet bluff small because they're just horrible and they don't understand that it's ridiculously obvious against any other reg, and they're going to get exploited. 1275, cool. And timing is also something that's healthy to note as well, just in case we get into more spots pre-flop against this guy and have to make a decision. If the dynamic gets built up and we start actually getting a bit more history and a bit more heat with him. This guy bets 2 and a 6. I'm still going to call. I think he's got a lot of random like 6x, some draws, some ace high, some stuff like that. I've got a gut shot as well, so I'm not going to fold. he can have some fives in his range. It kind of sucks when he bets like pot here. I'm inclined to think that that's just always a value bet with a 5 or with some sort of nuts. I think if he's bluffing, I don't usually see huge, quick pot size bets as bluffs. Like if he bet like 7 there, I think I'd maybe just hero call, because he can have a lot of busted draws and crap. He can even have bluffs here, but it's just the 10 into 10-25 just against a fish just looks really... I mean, it can be a bluff, but no, I'm going to fold. If he timed down a bit and then bet like 650 or something, I think that's more likely the sort of size that these fish bluff with. And I don't think he thin value bets. He might not even bet a king for value, because they don't know how to value bet at all thinly. So it's probably a trivial call if I don't hate his sizing, but I really hate his sizing there. I think it's more often than not going to be the nuts when he just pots it like that. But if he's doing that all the time and we observe that, then we'll know that we can sort of, in future, we can adjust basically and not fold to it. I float here as c-bet's really weak. He's got air all the time on this board. I'm just looking for him to check the turn so I can bet and take it down. It helps when we make a flush draw. I'm still going to bet because we have jack high. Don't want him retaking the initiative on the river and betting or anything like that. So, alright, that's unfortunate. I was hoping he wouldn't do that because we obviously can't call. There's some hands he'll call the turn with. It may be better to check back, take a free card, and then bet the river as a bluff, since he probably doesn't reignite missed c-bet sort of air c-bet spots very often. He probably doesn't reignite bluffs in that spot and the river too much, so I can probably just check back the turn, then bet the river and take it down and take a free card as well. But if he's going to, it's good to bet the turn to get fold equity there, because then if he does call us with a queen, we've got a street that we can actually make our flush on, and we've built the pot enough that we can shove should we make our flush. If he does check call a queen, downside is that when he check jams, we give up all that equity by having to fold. But I like the float because he's just sat down at the table. He's probably not going to get too crazy. I think his range is really weak. Don't think there's much else to say about it. I think it's fine. This sucks, like on this blind versus blind spot. Like, the board's just so horrible, our equity's just so bad. Yeah, you can definitely have air here a decent amount of the time, but nevertheless, I'm still going to go ahead and fold because, again, we have to make a river decision. Our equity sucks, and yeah, I don't have much else to say about it. Here, what the hell happened here? This guy opened, we flatted sixes, he c-bets into two people, easy fold for me. You've got fish stacked after me, and he may not be c-betting that board too lightly against the fish when we're three-way there, so I think that's pretty standard. Considered raising that flop. I think I'd rather just allow him to barrel a bit more. The stack to pot ratio is such that although I want to get it in, I can quite easily get it in over the next few streets anyway. It's really annoying, that sizing. I'm going to call again, and he then checks. Kinda sucks. Yeah, I want to shove here, but I just want to make sure I get called by like a 9 and stuff like that. I think he can fold a 9 if I do shove. And the reason I flat the turn is I think a raise looks super strong, and by flatting the turn, I allow him to bluff the river as well if he's just barreling air, and I can just ship over it. I'm happy shipping over a small river bet. With King 7, I could have got all the money in by raising the flop. I could have made more there. So against that specific hand, it sucks, and I could have probably got called by shoving the river. Maybe not, but probably. But given how much he timed down, possibly not. But the thing is, he has a lot of hands like pocket 10s, pocket jacks, 9x in his range there that probably won't call a shove, but will call like a smaller bet. So I like my sizing, I think, overall against his range. I like my line overall against his range, even though in that situation it wasn't optimal against the hand he actually had. I think overall it's probably the best line. Once again, I've no clue how long I've actually been recording for. It's good that. But this doesn't tell me. Like, I should really work out how to use this application a bit better as opposed to just constantly using it and just doing the bare minimum with it and scraping past. I'm really not great with Camtasia. I've never read the tutorial. I've never like given it that much time or thought, but I'm sure I could put a bit more effort in and get a bit better at it. So 68, 70 hands, I think that's usually like that's at least 45 minutes, surely, right? I'm going to 3-bet bluff here. I've not really been 3-betting yet. This guy's opening, well, not that wide, but I guess he's not opening small blind that wide. But I think it's fine because I've just got a good image, and I've got the type of hand that's near the top of my folding range. I don't really want to flat it, given he's not super wide, blind versus blind. I'd much rather just 3-bet as a bluff there and expect to get a decent amount of folds. I'm always opening like against this guy like any 2 cards, pretty much. I think it's safe to say. Until he shows me he's actually going to do something to adjust. He's probably playing like 29 tables as well. Until he shows me he's going to do something about it. Oh, he 3-bets me. There you go. Probably just had ace king. Want to be opening super wide versus what the fuck? Like seriously, can I just? Yeah, he's hidden from search. He's probably mass multi-tabler. A little bit loose, probably be an okay ISO, but know nothing about this guy. He's folded a few hands so far, so his range may not be like super wide like most limping fishes is. Zidane, what do you raise under the gun, sir? 1 out of 3 so far. I've got a tight image. We're getting 4 3-bet bluff. People, standard regulars who can fold to 3-bets and are probably opening like not super tight under the gun, are going to give this a lot of respect with most of their range. They're going to fold fairly often, so I quite like it. When he calls and the flop comes down Jack 4-2, we have some backdoor draws here. Likely hands from like queens, jacks, tens, ace queen, maybe even ace king. He maybe set mines me as well. So I'm going to fire a c-bet just in case he's set mining, and then I think there's some turns I can bet as well. I think often he'll call with like pocket 7s there if he expects my range to be really strong, or he'll call with ace queen folds on that board, and that's already 16 combos, So I think enough of his range folds there. And again, I've got a strong range. He probably gives me respect, so when he doesn't have like a hand like pocket 9s or better, he probably folds most of the time on that board. He maybe even folds a hand like 9s, who knows. Awesome turn for me on table 1, just snap gonna bet here. Make him fold any 5x, 6x or other lower pocket pair. We get 3-bet by an unknown. He makes it too big for us to set mine 100 deep, so we just fold. Pretty standard stuff. Okay, I'm gonna set out for now and round up my session. So thanks for watching again, guys. Let me know if you've got any comments or questions, and I'll be back in about a week's time when we'll hopefully get that. I'll convince my girl to do that coaching video with me, and we'll get that sent out to you guys. So yeah, it should be good. Again, like, he's not 3-betting me too light. So far, he 3-bets me out position when I open middle position. He's probably just like fairly tight here most of the time. So I'll just fold. I folded plenty 3-bets, but that's not a bad thing because it's only against people who I don't know or really light. When I find out someone's light, I adjust, but until then I'm really tight versus 3-bets, as I think you should be, because it's so hard to play against strong ranges and 3-bet pots, especially if you don't know anything about your opponent. Just going to be a bad situation for you. So thanks for watching, amigos, and I will catch you guys next week. So until then, take care. Thanks.